Hey, what's up guys? This is Brian F here, and I'm making this video to cover the Balrog V-Trigger high-low mix-ups, and I'm going to explain a bit about how the mix-ups work, how much of a gap is between all of the records and the overheads, and with this information you can decide better how to both implement the V-Trigger mix-ups and how to defend against them. So I'm not going to go into information about like all the other options, like there's a lot of options you can go into, but I'm just going to explain the pure high-low mix-up and a bit about how it works. So if you're unfamiliar with Balrog's V-Trigger, after a dash punch, he is able to cancel the dash punch into 4 Rekkas after, either with forward kick or forward punch. The kick ones launch him in the air, the punch ones keep him grounded. So if I do forward and punch, he stays on the ground. If I do forward and kick after the dash punch, he goes in the air. And all of the Rekkas besides number 4 can be canceled into a V skill. With this V skill, you can either commit to the overhead from the V skill or stop the V skill short, go for a low, go for a throw, go for some other kind of mix up. You can also end the V skill and a dash and in the V skill P, which sets you up for a +2 situation after, where you can pressure the opponent, and that's sort of like the respectful reset. You go for the V skill P, and then you're at advantage, but there's no high-low mix-up there. So with those mix-ups, you got to remember 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th one launches him in the air. So there's really only 3 spots where he can go for the V skill. So on the first one, on the second one, and 1, 2, 3 on the third one. And these Rekkas don't all have the same amount of frame advantage. So each Rekka depreciates in the amount of hit stun and block stun that it deals as it goes on. So what many people don't realize is that there can be a gap between the Rekka and the V-Skill overhead reset and the V-Skill low reset. The V-Skill overhead actually comes out much faster if you go for the straight overhead than doing empty V-Skill and hitting a low. There's a much bigger gap in the low. So if you know this, you can kind of exploit these resets. So what I have here is I have Nikali set up. I choose Nikali because he has a 3-frame, 4-frame, 5, 6, 7, 8. He has all the different startup normals that you can use to test this. So I have the dummy here mashing 3-frame jab. I'm using this because unfortunately there's no option to have the dummy do something on reversal. It's kind of hard to test resets. So what I'm going to show here is I'm going to show the gap in the first high-low mix-up, so on the first Rekka. So I'm going to go ahead and activate, if I can get a... So if you notice here, I'm doing the V-Skill overhead on the first Rekka, and I'm actually trading with a 3-frame jab mash. There's a 2-frame window, and then, or a 2-frame gap, and on the 3rd frame, the overhead actually connects. If I go ahead and try to do, hold on here. It's kind of hard to hit the jab sometimes. If I go ahead and try to go empty low, there's too much of a gap for me to pressure. I'm going to get counter hit. I'm actually on this spin. I believe if you do empty spin, he's actually -1. So I can't do anything on a 3-frame jab character mashing. If I even try to do light kick, I'm going to get my 3-frame, I'm going to get counter hit. Now what does this mean? Balrog can get really big damage from this reset if you're just blindly mashing. Sorry, that was an imperfect recording. I didn't do that properly, but if he trades with 3-frame jab here, and he times a heavy punch dash straight, you can actually combo with a heavy punch dash straight reversal and get, a lot of damage. I'm not doing it right, but trust me, it works. See, there he goes, it combos. That's really difficult to time. It has to be reversal. You could do like a light or, an EX much easier. So you can definitely get a really, really big damage reset if they're mashing jab. But like I said, the gap actually increases the more Rekkas you do. So a 3-frame jab character could choose to mash jab on the first Rekka, But if we go to the second Rekka and choose to overhead, 3-frame jab will interrupt every time. This actually hits on the 4th frame. And if I try to do empty low, excuse me, the empty V skill is -2. I'm going to get counter hit every time if I try to sneak in a V skill low or a V skill throw, hoping to condition them to block. And that's a no-go. And I can show this. I also have the dummy doing the 4-frame crouching short. So there you can see how I did the V-skill overhead on the second Rekka, and I can combo in the trade. But it trades with it. And same deal, if I try to do empty low, my low is a 4-frame move and I'm -2 there, so 4-frame buttons will interrupt. So what does this mean? If you have a 3-frame jab, if you see the second Rekka go by and you don't see the V-skill hook come out, you can mash 3-frame to interrupt the high-low mix-up on the second Rekka and the third as well, because the gap just keeps increasing. I do have more options once this is established, this mix-up, to do like a delayed V-skill P. For instance, something like that. You can delay the V-skill like that and get another counter hit if you're mashing, which is an option, but that's -4 on block, and you have to read the opponent and know that they know about this mix-up and know that they're mashing. So I'm not saying that this is a catch-all solution, but it's something to try. Something to try. If you have a 4-frame jab, you're definitely in a worse position. You don't want to mash on the first Rekka, unless maybe you can like wait to see the overhead and then notice that the overhead didn't come out and then start mashing to interrupt the low. Of course, if you see the V-skill P connect in the combo, you might want to stop mashing, because then it's just a pure +2 situation that you have to deal with. So there is ways to interrupt this. It's not a pure 50-50 on the high-low. And then here I have 5-frame crouching strong. And you can see imperfect mashing on the dummy. You can see on the third Rekka, it hits on the 5th frame, so it trades with the crouching strong. But what's weird about this is it doesn't do the same amount of hit stun as the other Rekkas. Because if you try to do, or it might have to do with the pushback, I'm not 100% concerned. I'm not doing it right, but if you do reversal heavy punch dash straight here, the other trades combo. But see, that one doesn't combo, it's actually interrupted. You gotta do a different dash punch on this combo. You can't go for the full, heavy punch, but you can do EX, of course. It's so fast. And since you kind of lose a frame of advantage on each Rekka, empty V skill was -1 on spin, the empty spin on the first one, -2 on the second one, and -3 now on the third one. So you see the dummy mashing 3-frame. I'm actually holding back there. If I try to do an empty V skill on the third Rekka, the final one where I can cancel it, this is not a mix-up. You can't do anything besides the delay V-skill hook, which is risky. And since so few people know about this, it's not like really in the meta to do. So if you're mashing 3-frame jab, you're gonna interrupt this. You're gonna punish. That's a punish. I'm holding back there. So it's definitely something that I don't see enough players attempting to challenge. And once that's established as like a thing to do, you're going to see Balrog players doing this, like a delay V skill, to try to counter hit your mashing more on hit. It's already kind of a tactic on block, but it's going to be something done on hit, which you can bait out, and that's -4 on block. So that might be something you see in the future, the delay V skill. But, players have to show that they understand how the high-low mix-up works. So I just wanted to go quickly over like the gaps that increase as the V-trigger goes on. We've all been stuck on the level 1 mix-ups of the high-low, but really there's a lot more complexity to the V-trigger, and people are getting hit by the basic stuff, and they just really don't seem to have any understanding of how it works. So I kind of wanted to put this out to show you like what your options are. and show that, you know, it's not totally helpless, and you can kind of find a way to pay attention to the Rekkas and see how you can find the gap. And just know that the further the Rekka sequence goes, the bigger the gap gets, and the more room you have to plan a counterattack. And I guess that's all for this video, so I just want to say thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.